right. So let's kind of have a conversation about this. So there's a lot going on when it comes to search and visibility on AI. Who wants to ask the first question or make the first comment around what they see when it comes to AI search?
I think one question we could start off with is just the different way that it's being approached as far as how you're being found on social media and through AI. Like, what's that process look like? Like, what are we looking ahead to? What are we going to be doing different that we were being found in Google search that we're going to have to do different to be found with the AI search?
That's a great question, and that is it's a very loaded question because that is huge. Um, this is where the if you don't use some type of tool. So let me share my screen because there's a lot of factors to determine where should I start, as you. And if you don't do the same way we do what we call a an audit of the website for traditional SEO, is we have to audit the site. We have to audit the site in order to see what is wrong with the site or what can be improved on the site. So if you don't audit your site, then you don't know. You can just assume, oh, I'm just going to do some blog articles or I'm just going to, try to get some backlinks. But if you can look at a situation like I'm going to share my screen here and we will walk through that question here. So I'm in the HubSpot grader, and in this particular tool, it's saying like even though that's 45, it's saying keep going. It's saying it's not bad. But we've been working with this brand for a long time. The reason why they're at 45 and 58 and 42 compared to next to nothing is because we've been doing traditional SEO for them for the last 6 years every single month. Now we're transitioning them over to AI search, which now we go, well, what do we do? So if we come down here and we look at, you know, uh, brand recognition, we see where we stand as far as mention depth, 3 out of 10 on OpenAI, 6 out of 10 on Perplexity, 3 out of 10 on Gemini. We come down here a little further, we can see common comparisons. How are we being compared? Why are we showing up? People are comparing us on price, machine reliability, technology features, customer service. We come down here, now it starts to give us some key strengths of why this platform likes us. Okay. And then we can look at some areas that we can work on. So, growth areas, what can we do to be better? This starts to become our action plan if we're only using this tool. Market trajectory, what's the trajectory of the growth of this industry? So it's not a lot. Sentiment analysis is really about how people feel about you. And again, I mentioned on the live call that sentiment for small businesses is always going to be a lot higher than market share. Because market share means you have to do something, you have to create something, or something needs to be created. Sentiment is just how people are talking about you. And if you got reviews, if you've got testimonials on your site or through Google, if you've been mentioned in press releases, if you notice even how I produced this event, I'm mentioning my partners. I'm tagging not only the partner, this business, but I'm tagging the individual. I'm helping them out with their SEO. So it shows that they were part of some technology event. You know, um, So this tool here can kind of more or less paint a picture. And then this is where SEMrush comes into play because SEMrush goes beyond that and it offers you actual strategic opportunity roadmaps. So you can do these things. You can look at this and go, "Ooh, we should do this. We should do this. We should do this." Because again, depending on the platform, there's a million things you can do. You can continue to do what you're currently doing, but you don't know if that's going to contribute to you showing up more. So you're going to need a tool to help you figure that out. Okay. Does that help, Corey?
Yep, makes sense. Makes sense. Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. And like I said, I could walk through any of these tools. I didn't get a chance to talk about any of these tools in depth, but again, that's what the other 5 days are about. If anybody, if there's, who wants to offer up another question? And again, remember I showed quite a bit of tools. So what can we get clarity on? Go ahead, Erica.
So, Google and YouTube were like the biggest search engines. Which generative engine would you say would have the next highest or closest to what Google and YouTube have?
Great
Or
question. I don't fully know the answer, but I'll guess. I'm thinking chat because it is definitely the most. And again, I'm not a chat user. So I did finally set up an account and do a training session on it just so I can get more familiar with chat. But like I said, in the live call, I think it hit 700 million users. So it's definitely the one that has the most adapt. People who don't know understand SEO, I mean, people who don't understand AI are using chat and calling that all of AI. So that just shows you. So yes, they're probably using Gemini, and I will take. Now I'm going to have to look and see what the usage is on Perplexity, Gemini, and whatnot. But I definitely give it to Chat off the bat.
Yeah. And Claire, I just wanted to say something. I think that's like looking at what the standard is or what the standard may be in the future. Like you said, with Tesla, we identify Tesla with electric cars. They're going to identify AI with chat at the moment until there's a predecessor that comes in front of it. So I think that we're kind of spot on with the direction we're going because of the work that they've done so far, and the numbers don't lie. So,
And then you're seeing here, so I'm looking at chat. So I chose chat. So it's giving me our thing. So I had a call with this client the other day, and we actually removed some of the competitors that it said were our competitors. So again, the tool is only as good as you're leveraging it. You still need to know how you leverage it. You need to understand where you're trying to go with it. And then the tool will just help paint a picture of where you are and the potential roadmap. I think you can put up to maybe 8 or 9 competitors here. So when I added them, we can see on chat, we're crushing it. And again, so it doesn't matter that this score here is this when it comes to chat because I'm still ahead of my competitors this week on chat. And other stands for this is everyone else combined that don't match up to these numbers. So that's what other stands for. Now, this tool eventually is going to add some aspects to filter between worldwide and probably countries and states, and we'll be able to do more here. But this is how fast the industry has changed. Before I ran this session, it changed a week before we were supposed to go live. So I had to push the whole series back and relearn the tool. So that's how fast this industry is changing. But when we're able to do that, we can see things like overall sentiment of your brand. 52% is favorable versus 48%, which is, stands for general. That doesn't mean it's negative reviews, but it just means that the tool is, it could be someone mentioning you for some event, so it really wasn't emotional versus someone saying, "Oh my God, I love A&M equipment so much. They helped me with this machine, blah, 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 blah." That's favorable. Okay. So, and then we're looking at some of the key drivers, brand factors that are driving that positive sentiment. So you can actually see wide selection of new and refurbished machines, warranty or refurbished machines, fast and reliable shipping. But if you look at areas of improvement, you're going to see limited mention on high-tech features. So this is a conversation I'm going to have with my client. I'm going to go, we need to actually integrate that language because we do, because here's the difference. We do have a lot of high-tech stuff. But what this is pointing out is I haven't done a good job of making sure that the public knows that we have high-tech features. So I have to start to integrate that more. And that could be because we have a lot of blogs, we have a lot of content, we have a lot of product pages. So we have to go which one of the pages are going or the appropriate pages to add this high-tech feature, just so we now, you know, what I'm looking for is to show up more in search when someone's looking for vending machines with more high-tech features. So This just says you're not it's not relevant. It's not enough in people's face. For lack of a better, I know I could say that better, but you get the point here. And then we come down here, and again, it's giving you some insights. Highlight financing and leasing options more prominently. We have a sucky finance page on this website. It is probably one of the only pages we have not touched in years. But this is important to the people. So we're going to have to do a whole thing on financing and answer these questions. So these are some key things that you can pick up and learn by watching it. And then that's going to affect ChatGPT. Because again, if I switch to Perplexity, it could either be the same or it could be different. Now, here's what I would suggest. Let's say you have this tool. You can click on your ideal platform, export it as a PDF, export for each one of these for Google, Search, Chat, Perplexity, and Gemini. Export them as 5 different PDF, upload them back into your AI tool, and go analyze this and find the common theme and a roadmap. So, because there's still going to be some overlap. It's just a lot of data. It's your basic overload of data, but that doesn't stop you. You go, let me get all the data, and then let me put it in there and let me analyze it and go, what do I do with this? Give me the top 5 priorities. And based on this, which one of the platforms do you think I should go after first? So leverage the tool as a brainstormer to brainstorm on the reports that you got about trying to show up more in search. So all you're doing is, and the data is clean because it's your data. And that's the beauty of it all. All right, I'm going to pause. I've said quite a bit. Who's up?
So, Jimmy, are you taking those blocks of text, going back into Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, and asking for blog posts or videos? Or are you using that text to make your numbers be higher in those platforms?
Um, you're saying grab this content and turn it into a blog article?
Yeah, I'm asking, would that help make those numbers, since it's telling you what to do? Are you going back to those platforms to ask for that content?
Well, it depends on what you're asking for. Like, is a blog the thing? Because in some cases, it might talk about building partnerships. It
Okay.
might talk about. So again, this is beyond just your website now. Now, what I would do, let's just go to the question section. So what I'm actually working on now is I actually took all the questions. So let me go to moving forward small business so you even get a different perspective. So I went to the questions section. So these are the questions being asked about your business and how people are interacting with either your content or non-branded content. These are things that, based on my actual website, that are important as far as topic distribution, community support, and networking. We have to do more of that. Training and education, that's second in line. Events and workshops, that's this 6-part series. Strategic planning and assessments. We now have an assessment for new members. So we've already implemented things based on this is going, these are the important things. Now, if I switch the industry, let's go to a la carte catering, which is Laura's company, you're going to see the distribution is going to align itself. The questions are going to align itself with her industry, catering and service offerings, event planning and logistics, menu optimization and dietary needs. So this is important to her industry, which is why, again, when you set this up for you, this is not cookie cutter. It's very relevant to your industry or specifically to you and your brand. So let's go back to me. So what I did do as a blog article was, let's come down here to questions. I categorized. So here's the questions being asked. Community support network. So support questions. What organizations offer comprehensive support for small business owners? Where can entrepreneurs find community-based resources for startups? These are blog articles. or these are part of a master blog article. Here's the research questions. What are the best membership communities for small businesses? What are the most beneficial membership-based networks for business growth? So I could position myself and just use this phrase in a blog article or our service page. We are considered one of the best communities for small businesses. We also, based on our testimonials, have some of the most beneficial membership-based networking for growth marketing. See, I'm integrating that in, but what I did is I took it a step further and I gathered all the questions and I put all the support questions together. I put all the research questions together and all the educational questions together. And I'm building a page on how moving forward small business helps you as a small business owner. And I'm going to have the AI help me write this masterpiece, and that to address all of that doesn't mean I won't do independent things, but I'm going to use these specific questions because these questions are actual questions being asked. It's asking questions like, what is the refund policy for moving forward small business membership? Now I got to check my membership page and go, do I even mention refund policy? Is it in the Q&A section on the page? So I come over here to membership. And I scroll. This is the membership, the actual landing page for people to sign up for membership. And I scroll all the way down. And I get to the point where there better be a FAQ. There we go. Frequently asked questions. These questions came from that. So I built it. How does membership help my business grow? How does the membership help? I got to delete that because I got that twice. See, mistake. How does the strategic pathway assessment work? Who can benefit from this membership? Can I retake the strategic pathway test? How's the 90-day plan work? So even though I have it here, the assessment, I have somewhere here about the 90-day plan. If I make the actual question in a frequently asked questions section, that is what that's what the AI engine is actually going to pull because I actually answer the question. And that's where you're talking about, this is how you start to show up more. So it's not going to take the time to try to figure out what this means. That could answer a question, but it's not answering the question. Does that make sense? So this is how you're taking small bites. So you're looking at this and going, all right, let me focus on, if you focus just on the question section of this tool alone, you should, if you're able to initiate some of these suggestions and come up with your own strategies around these things you're seeing asked, you will start to show up more because these are questions that are being asked on these platforms. And now if you want to get more specific, you go back to visibility and you come over here, you go to the platform you want to, and then you come down and it automatically pulled the questions. So, and if you're already showing up, so you can see we're doing pretty well for some of our branded stuff. Now that probably wasn't the thing before because we've created those pages already. So now look, we're in position 1. So we're making sure we control the narrative. Okay. So these are the things. So you need to have a tool like this that'll help lay out that groundwork. I'm going to pause for a second. I said it quite a bit. So that was your question, Nikisha, right?
That was Erica's question, but I'm right
Yeah,
behind
that's what
her.
I said. That was Erica's question.
So thank you for that, because what that explanation just opened my eyes to is when you put the question within your website and it's pulled by AI, now AI pulls the answer and kind of takes them right back to your page or to your yeah.
Well, it does a number of things. So the AI will put a link as a source to your page. So if we go, if I take this question here, Command C, let's go to perplexity.
Okay.
and come back down here. So here's a different set of questions. So, are moving forward small business expert resources more actionable than Hello Alice content? Guess where it got that question? Because it showed me all my competitors specifically for AI. I created comparison charts, blog articles, and I compared myself with 9 of our top competitors, 3 in one blog, 3 in another blog, and 3 in the third blog. And I had the AI do a non-salesy comparison chart of all 3 of us. So that's why we're number 1. So if I come over to Perplexity, and I type in that question, hit enter, and this is how we can validate, is this real? Are we technically showing up in this search? And so you can actually see the answers. So it gave me moving forward small business strengths, Hello Alice strengths. And again, I don't think I actually have a comparison with Hello Alice, but here's what I do have. If I come back to moving forward small business and I go to blogs and I scroll all the way down to here, these are comparison charts comparing moving forward small business with entrepreneurs organization, startup grind, and Vistage. Comparing moving forward small business with Chamber of Commerce and Small Business Development Center. Comparing moving forward small business with SBA and SCORE. So even though I don't have one specifically for Hello Alice, I have enough comparison information on moving forward small business that it was able to help piece it together. So this is more accurate for me, regardless of if Hello Alice is accurate or not. And then what we're seeing here is 2. You're seeing numbers. And this is where it's sourcing it. So you can actually see, where did it pull that information from? And then if you come over here to sources, this is where it's saying I'm number 1 because I'm number 1. I'm number 2. And now, of course, this is a branded, which means it used my actual name. Now, if I come back over here and I go, let's look for a non-branded. Now remember, I'm still in Perplexity. So I'm going to click on this until I get non-branded. There we go. So here's non-branded. So you can see I have work to do. I'm not showing up in non-branded anywhere. So now this is my next stage, because non-branded means it's just asking, can an entrepreneur find up-to-date resources on business development? So I need to create something around that. So it could be a blog post. It could be a YouTube video. It could be an event. It could be me doing an interview and the topic is around that topic. There's many different ways I could figure that out. I just want to see if there's one here where I might actually be. So this is where moving forward small business is hurting. But if I come over here to A&M Equipment Sales, which is a company I've been doing SEO for a long time, and look at their Perplexity for visibility, we've done enough work for them where we did focus heavily on non-branded terms that they're doing well, because look at all the non-branded terms they rank for. So there is no mention of their brand name. It's just, where can I buy vending machines suited for schools? We're number 1. And again, so I could drop this in here, take this answer, Command C, come over here to Perplexity, start a new chat. And this is just to validate, am I actually number 1 on Perplexity? Boom, let's see. And there we go. Now I'm in New York. They're in Atlantic City. I mean, they're in Georgia. And so Right now, it's not basing it on where I live. It's just finding the best content. That should be another huge wake up call. It's not location based. So it found A&M equipment sale, and then this one, and this one, and this one. So I know I'm number one. If I click on sources, I'm number one. So I just proved on Perplexity that this is real data. Now, I wouldn't have known that I'm number one for that on an AI tool without having an AI tool. I'm going to pause. Anybody?
I just need a minute, Jimmy,
Take two.
because I'm thinking, like, if I'm coming in, right, I'm a numbers girl. So all of this, I'm like, okay, this is a lot, but I see where, I'm sorry, it's not a lot. Um, it's new, right?
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm adapting to it. So if I was to start from ground zero, knowing nothing, where would I start?
Analyze your website.
So HubSpot, search AI.
HubSpot. HubSpot is a tool just to drop in and see how the website, how the brand, because it's not the website, it's actually the brand. If you
Okay.
come back over here, you don't even ever put a website in. It's company name,
Hmm.
the location. Is it United States? Is it UK? Is it New York, New York? Is it Newark, New Jersey? You put in the product or service that
Hmm.
you service. So business consulting,
Right.
business growth consulting, and then your industry, the consulting industry. Now, this is where it changes, and Laura and I have had a number of conversations. You could be in the business consulting industry, you could be in the education industry. Depending on how you put in here will determine the search. So you got to be very clear on the industry. What industry am I actually in? So then when you hit that button, it's going to pull the relevant competitors. It's going to pull in who owns it because when I originally did mine, I was being compared to Boston Consulting Group and all these and Deloitte. Those are not my competitors. It wasn't until I put small business growth strategy or a small business consultant where it said, okay, that's not them. Here's your next best score. This. And I go, that's my target audience. So you have to do an initial assessment, make sure you choose the right categories so it gives you the right competitors. And if you already know your competitors, then you can't replace them here, but you can if you have this tool. You can update that so you control these are who I consider my competitors. Now go. But either way, you need to do an assessment before you do anything. The thing is, it is overwhelming without leveraging this technology, you know. So you have to start leveraging the tech first and let the tech tell you where to go. Laura?
I'm glad that you brought it back up. With the HubSpot tool, yes, you put in what your industry and other data is, and you never do that with SEMrush. You actually just put your competitors in, or you allow it to pick the competitors. So you're not sure exactly which search terms the SEMrush tool is using. So your data is going to be a little bit different than what you get out of HubSpot, but be specific on your industry. If you can narrow it down to your competitors and figure out what those specific keywords are, it will help you with the data a lot.
Absolutely. And do understand this too, Nikisha. You're not an SEO person. So this is supposed to be a bit confusing or a bit overwhelming because unfortunately, now business owners have to look at this because it's not just about SEO anymore. It's about brand management. It's about understanding, who is in control and what can you learn from them. So it is more of a broader stroke than just SEO. It's just rooted in SEO, unfortunately. So it's either yourself or somebody on your team that has to undertake this. Now, at that point, what it could look like is I am I'm the founder. I'm not an SEO person. I need to know the big picture. I had a call with one of my clients, and they're like, "We need to show up in AI." I'm like, "Then we need to have a company-wide meeting." I'm only going to share with them big picture stuff. We need to think about this, this, this. What does our PR strategy look like? How often are we posting on social media? Because that's different people in different departments, and I'm seeing disconnect. And again, this is for teams of people, not just an individual or a partnership. They have 5 people or 15 or 20 people. Who's responsible for what? Because this is a team. This is starting to become more of a team-wide initiative. They don't have to know all of this nitty-gritty stuff, but somebody does. So I would say out of you and Corey, tag, you're it, Corey. You just have to have meetings regularly to review the data and go, well, what if we tried this? Or again, taking the or take you can even download so you can download these reports right here from HubSpot and then use that, upload that, and go give me an action plan of the most important things that it should do for all of them or one specifically. So again, all you're doing is collecting data and then asking the right question. Where do I start?
Thank you for that, Jimmy. That was very helpful.
Mm-hmm. Now, what I am going to do is I am going to touch a little bit on Reddit. This is probably one of the things I am not happy about. I don't like jumping in the forums and spilling my guts and all that crap. I never was a fan of that. Not that we have to do that, but we do have. I've since set up a company Reddit account and a Quora account because if you're going to answer these questions, you're going to need to have access to these tools. Now, SEMrush doesn't pull in that data. ScaleNut does. They just released an upgrade where they're able to pull in that data. Um, I have limited access on my plan, but again, I popped in my top things I would like to contribute on, and it found it. And so here's a prime example. And again, I'm showing you stuff I'm going to go into deeper, but again, I can tailor this conversation for us. So this one here on business coaching options, it goes, I've been running a business for about 7 years and could use some coaching or mentorship. I have someone on the outside putting me through a path to stay on track and achieve my goals growing the company. A lot of options I've tried in the past are ranging from $1,000 to $1,500 a month. While I'm doing well with the business that seems, while I'm doing well with the business, the price seems very high for me and for one meeting a month. It just hasn't been practical for me so far. My question here is seeing if anyone has a more affordable option, maybe something online, or suggest finding membership for less money. I understand you get what you pay for, but the coaching field to me seems tough to gauge. Bonus question. If anyone is paying a lot for coaching, is there a program or amazing coaching that makes it worth it? This is an actual customer ready to buy. So I responded already because you can click here and go straight to the conversation on Reddit, but you need your Reddit account. So I responded, but the problem is this question was a year old. So the person so he's probably moved on. But again, here are other questions. What are the best AI tools that actually help your business? I can answer that question. I can go, oh, by the way, we're running a word. You see how you can start to jump in on these conversations on Reddit if you have a tool. Now, the other tool I didn't demo, but I mentioned was the Idea Ape tool. I mentioned that when you drop in the partner, I mean the whether it's a partner, a competitor, analyzing them, it shows you what the drivers of that persona is. It shows you the problems they have with the product or the industry, and then the opportunities, how you can fix it. Again, this is where they're getting it. They're not making it up. They're pulling it again from Reddit. Reddit is a huge component I think they said Reddit is probably number one as as for the sourcing of forums for these AI tools. So I can click on this and go directly to the conversation and start to communicate. So that is that component of showing up off your site and being able to go, hey, Bob, I totally understand. Yeah, that happened to me, which is why we created blah, 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 blah for people that actually struggle with this same problem. So you can't come in salesy, so you got to be tactical about how you communicate. But again, you're showing your expertise. So maybe you don't talk about your actual product, but you show your authority in this field to talk about why that is happening and what people can do about it. Okay. So you take David, with the whole finance thing, you need to build that authority in there. So you're monitoring, when you set up your Reddit account, finance in that industry, and then you need to start commenting on that. So do you have a tool that can help you get that info so you can actually show up in the right conversations and build that authority? So when the AI search engine is now scouring the web for a non-branded term around that key topic, you now have a chance to be one of the cited people that is cited for that because of your authority that you built. So I wanted to touch on Reddit specifically. I've used Quora, but I think I like Reddit more than Quora. But I do have a Quora account, but I don't have a tool yet that will allow me to do what I can do in Reddit. It seems like a lot of the tools that we're using are favoring Reddit over Quora at this point. But I'm sure there are probably Quora-based tools. I just haven't took the time. Not nor am I looking for it. It's just if it comes, it comes. Okay. Any thoughts on that, David? Any thoughts? Any questions? Any ahas?
No, I think that last one was a big aha for me. I was taking notes as you were talking about it. Um, yeah, just the ability to find people that are maybe, hey, how do I start investing in real estate or something? And then I could just go,
Exactly.
start giving them information, and you just give good info, and 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 5 people might reach out and ask for more information. And you're just giving education and being helpful, but you're drawing people in with your expertise. So
Absolutely.
I
And
like
one
that.
cool thing about this is when I did do the conversation, I had a link and it warned me, take the link out, at the beginning. So depending on the tool, it might have presets, it might have red flag things set up in it. So it stops you from being what could be considered spammy and ruining your reputation in in that conversation, that circle, that industry. So you do want to be very careful when you're posting on these platforms to go, it's not a sales tool. It is a relationship building tool. Has anybody else tried this yet? Okay. All right. So we're coming close to the top of the hour. Um, I've shown you quite a bit. Is there anything else we want to chat about today, or anything anybody want to say?
Yeah, I just real quick, just on building on top of the topic we're talking about now, as far as answering some of these basic questions that drive traffic. I think
Mhm.
that's something that Nikisha and I we're starting to do with our business because we think that the basic information or entry level information is not valuable to a lot of people because it's basic to what we know. But what we're doing is basically projecting what we know to a new circle of influence to the people that are within our circle. And I don't think we know that the things that we think are common or that a majority of people should know, that we can share that information and we're influencing our own personal circle of influence. And there's so many circles of influence that we are going to create our own by, again, delivering information that is quote unquote entry level, but give a lot of it and just give different perspectives on it so that, like you said, we become a brand name. We become an official source for people to get this information from. And once we get their attention, then we can start building with the higher level content uh, to bring them in and keep them as a potential customer or client in the future. So basically helping with brand awareness.
Yeah, and the thing is, again, this goes back to there's so many different things you can do. There's so much you can talk about. If you start to get more, let's say you label the content entry level, start labeling content intermediate, labeling content advanced. That could also help the search engines, but also the end user to go, I don't need this entry level. I'm going to skip it. Do you have something more intermediate or advanced? And these are just small little tweaks that you're doing. They're not going to make a huge difference in the content because, again, you could produce content to your blue in the face. The objective here is to have a game plan first, to know why am I producing this content? Like I realized, I got this series and I don't have one article on our website about AI search. So that was something I noticed this week as I'm building my authority in AI search. I've got press releases that went live last week and this week, which is the only thing other than this event and me doing a ton of great stuff on social media, but I don't have any content to back that up that might be long form. So I have in my book for Friday, half the day is going to be spent on creating a cluster, a pillar cluster for the term AI search, not GEO, which is generative engine optimization, or any of the other ones. Why? Because AI search is the generic term that people are using. Only the experts and people in the industry are going GEO. So understanding your audience and then creating that content, but you got to create it across things. So of course, I'll convert that content into other formats and upload it to the YouTube channel. Erica did something amazing for me yesterday. She took our landing page for the event, popped it into Notion LM, and created a 7-minute video. And was like, here you go, Jim. If you like it, I looked at it. I go, holy crap, this is great. It explained the entire thing in a way that I never would. So I cleaned it up, rebranded it, threw it up on our YouTube channel. And now there's another thing. There's a video on our YouTube channel that talks about LM search and the importance of it and key things about it. So that's just another key piece of content that will continue to build on that, around that theme, and why people should look for me. So there's so many opportunities for you. There's more than we have time to pay attention to, but that doesn't mean we don't do anything. If we're going to create videos, focus on that theme. So identify a theme and then build some stuff around it. Just make sure it's formatted properly so the search engines can take advantage of it. So if it's a service page, make sure you integrate those questions. Make sure there's a frequently asked questions section. One thing I started doing again with my clients, and this is something everybody can do. Everybody here has some form of a website, right? What you do is you drop that website page, that very specific page, into chat, and you go create me 8 to 10 frequently asked questions specifically only for this page. And now you just optimized it for better AI search because it's going to use it and it's going to search and go, well, what are people searching about for this particular topic? Because it's non-branded content. So again, that's another way to get around not having access to these tools. But it's a great way to generate that content with the quickness if you got 5 different service pages. Do not have all your services on a single page. That is horrible option. That's a horrible way to try to be found. You break out each one of those pages. You can have a master page with all your services, but then have an individual page for each service. And then at the bottom, a frequently asked question specifically about that service. And again, so that's traditional SEO 101, but it's also optimizing for AI search. So you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. All right. Okay. You guys
got
look
time
like
for one
you're,
more, Jimmy?
huh? Yeah, absolutely. I could be here all day. I know you can't, but I could.
Okay. I let go of my errands today so I can hang out with you guys. But I want to know, how do you know when it's beginner, intermediate, or advanced?
Well, you're gonna kind of have to know. Like, again, Corey mentioned that his stuff was, so a lot of it could be very early stage, or for new businesses who don't know anything. So that right there could be a thing. You could, and again, this is where you're going back to your generative engine. You might go, how would you mark this? Intermediate, early, beginner, intermediate, advanced, just to get a get an opinion. You know, I've always struggled with my content because I'm all over the place. I can say something is beginner and it ain't, and that's just because I'm too caught in the weeds. I understand exactly what Corey said. Sometimes I think people should know it, so I don't mention it, and all of a sudden they're like, "Well, why didn't you mention that? That's important." I'm like, "Well, everyone knows that." Well, no, they don't. That's absolutism, you know. So we get caught in that, and it's hard. So maybe ask your tool, and here's a way where you might go to three different AI tools, because what's obvious is that the three AI tools are going to use different reasoning to answer your question. Go ahead, Corey.
I was going to say another way to kind of like get an idea of where those things are is ask the AI tools, what would you consider entry level, intermediate, and then advanced, and then personalize it for your circle.
Absolutely. Now that's something I haven't mentioned. Personalizing. We're using a lot of AI here. It's great, but if it's generative AI, meaning it's generating it on your behalf, you have to definitely make sure that you have the final word. So you humanize it to some degree. I'm even starting to do that in my prompts. I'll ask for stuff and then I'll say, please humanize this after it. And it actually does a better job. It writes it more not like whenever I see the term in the what is the term? I see the in you know in the changing digital landscape. Whenever I see anything that remotely looks like that, I immediately go, don't do that because that just screams AI. And I'll go make this more human, and then it actually comes back with a better version of what it wrote for me. So I want the initial, and then I want it to fix it, and then I'll modify it from there. So that's a generative AI trick that I do a lot. Okay. All right. Final questions or final thoughts.
Uh, Jimmy, if you don't mind, I will say, as far as the content, I've written hundreds of articles on different topics. And if you tell people stuff they already know and then tell them some new things along with it, they love that. So don't worry too much about telling them stuff they already know, because if they'll read through it, they'll say, "Oh, well, I knew that. Oh, there's some good information. This person's really smart." And so it's all good, really, whatever you write. Like I was surprised that I wrote 200 articles over the course of 2 years for one of my clients. It's 2 articles a week, and just some of the simplest stuff would rank really, really high on Google and show up. It was, yeah, I was just really surprised. I kind of ran out of topics and just started doing it on almost random, simple things, but that stuff was really popular and got them a lot of traffic.
Nice, very nice. There you go. And that's more of your inbound strategy, and that's okay because they're finding it because they're searching for it.
Mhm.
It's when you're pushing it out to people, you know, you could possibly say that if you're thinking that the audience that you're trying to address might not know. And this is where polling might come in handy, or asking questions up front and then adjusting your language in real time. If this is more of a live thing that you're doing, you just need to really know your stuff in order to make that happen. So, but there's so many options. I'm excited about the future of this, but it's important that we get ahead of it now before, we're now playing catch up again to this. So, All right. So with that being said, I see there was 2 things in the chat. Let me just make sure that it was not important. All right. I'm not sure what alphabet soup means, but oh, I think that's a book, maybe. All right. There we go.
It's
All
for
right.
using jargon like SEO instead of saying search engine optimization.
Yeah. Hey, Jamie, it's Matthew. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're basically
Oh,
everyone's
snap.
using AI and all these other things. And outside of this room, I think most people have no clue what a computer actually does. So it's like whatever.
Can you
And
introduce yourself, sir?
yeah. Hey, I'm Matthew. I'm helping Jimmy with some of the stuff he's doing. Live in Atlanta. Sorry, I've been multiple things going on at once. So had this computer running with the talk in the background. I was like, oh, this is really interesting stuff. Yeah.
All right, very cool. So, excited for this first session. Looking forward to next week. I'm having an issue taking a screen capture. So, Keisha, can you screen capture for me? On the count of 3, everybody smile. Let me know when you're ready first, Keisha. You're the photographer, not me. Okay. 1, 2,
3,
3.
and go. All right.
All right, there we go. Nice. All right. I appreciate you all showing up. I'll see you next week if you can show up. If not, it will be recorded. This will be the link that you will use every time for the VIP room. So you don't need to get a new link. And for the live call, I'll make sure that I actually sent the wrong link. Some of us ended up into the main room instead of the other one. I'll make sure you got the right link, but that'll also be the same link at 12 o'clock. So you don't have to change anything. So you'll just get a notification that we're going live. And if you can make it, you can make it. All right. I appreciate everyone, and I'll see you soon. And feel free to reach out if I can help in any way. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
All right.
Thank you.